Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Unpontificated. And in this episode, I want to talk about the resilience of our children that we have today. I came across this, let's see here. It is a Stats Canada 2023 Canadian Health Survey on Children and Youth and changes in the mental health of respondents from the 2019 survey. And you can find this on StatsCan. You can see up here, see the URL. But in general, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but this highlighted portion in 2019, 16% of girls aged 12 to 17 rated their mental health as fair or poor, more than twice that of boys, which was 7%. And then the proportions increased in 2023 to 33% for girls, 16 to 21%, 16 to 21 years of age, and 19% for boys, 16 to 21 years. And and then there's more down there about this whole survey. Now, what I wanted to kind of talk about today was why do we have such a proportion of mental health issues in our young people, in our teens? And I'm not a psychologist or psychiatrist, and all I can do is read surveys and see what the experts have to say. A lot of them attributed this increase to COVID and the fact that our kids were at home. But all I'm going to talk about today is my own experience. I raised 3 children, and all of them have good mental health, as far as I know. All 3 of them are married. One of them is raising 2 kids or 2 grandkids, and they're well-rounded adults. But even as they were growing up, there were things that I noticed among some of the things that they were doing that I think attribute to not so much the mental health of our kids, but our ability of our kids to bounce back from hardships, right? Because that's what resilience is. We're talking about the resilience of our kids. And I looked up the kind of a definition of resilience, and that's what it is: resilience, ability to bounce back from difficult or challenging situations. And I think now what we've done with our children is that we have not um, um, exposed them. We have not exposed them to challenging situations when they're young. As parents, many parents are now overprotective of their kids. When I was growing up, like my sister and I, this was now in Kenya, my sister and I, we were probably, this was grade 6 and 7, so we would have been 11 and 10 years old. But we used to leave the house, go catch the bus by ourselves. It was still sometimes dark before we were able to go when we left the house to go catch the bus, and we had to take 2 buses to get to our school, our public school, and then come back as well by bus. But we did this. We'll hear my parents tell the story of how they used to worry, and sometimes my mom would walk with us, but most of the time she was sleeping. We would actually no, she wasn't sleeping because she would get up to help us get our stuff ready, but she sent us off on our way. So this is 10 and 11 years old, and we went off, caught the bus, exposing us to situations where we would have to solve any situation that may came up. Like maybe sometimes you would miss where to get off. So we'd get off at the next bus stop and had to walk back to the bus stop where we'd have to go catch the bus. But these were just situations that we got ourselves in. Nowadays, parents won't even send their kids to the store to go get some milk by themselves. Won't send them to the park by themselves. We're just, it's just because I don't know if it's the movies that we see. We read a lot of things in the media about kids getting abducted. And in my mind, there's not more kids getting abducted now than before. We just read and see and see about them more. Kids were getting abducted way back when as well. But anyway, we've overprotected our kids. We have not exposed them to challenging situations as parents. And schools are also being very overprotective as well. You hear in schools that you can no longer, this is in Canada, you can no longer throw snowballs at each other at recess. It's just not gonna, right? They no longer have the monkey bars where kids can go swinging from from bar to bar and then gonna fall down and knock their heads in. But you've taken away these things that where kids can scrape their knee and bleed, you know, and uh, and just deal with it, deal with those situations, overcome those hardships that you overcome as a child. You take the athletics, the activities that we put our kids in. When they're very young, there's no winning and there's no losing, or everyone wins, no one loses, everyone gets a prize, participation medal, right? We're not teaching them how to lose well. We're not teaching them how to win well. Um, although sometimes in soccer, I've heard they don't score goals. So how can you teach someone to overcome issues, overcome challenges if they're not exposed to those challenges when they're young, right? You teach that kid, okay, you're lost, they're crying. Okay, so now how are you going to deal with that? You lost. Get back out there, play better um, until now you win. Now don't brag, win well, that kind of thing. So it's at home. Kids are not taught how to be resilient. It's at school. It's in the activities that we put our kids in. It's and then when you get out there into real life, you don't get the promotion, right? You don't get the job that you applied for, and now you don't know how to deal with it. You don't know how to deal with that because you weren't taught that when you were young. And then next thing you know, you have adults as well who are going through mental health issues. It's amazing. It's not just kids. The other thing I think we have issues with is technology. When we were raising our kids did not get phones until they could pay for their phones themselves. We were not paying for their phones. Um, so until they got a job, so they had to be like, 14, 15, 16 years old, and they got their first job and they were able to pay for their phones, then okay, now you can get a phone. But now they're older, mid-teen. But you give a young 8, 9, 10-year-old phone, and all they are is on their phones. So their friends are their phone friends, right? So they don't have those face-to-face interactions with real people, where real people can do things to you where you have to overcome something, right? You have a friend or an acquaintance, someone you're just associating with, and they do things that disappoint you. They do things behind your back. They tease you. They do all those kinds of things where you now have to show some resilience, right? And I'm not talking about necessarily going out, fisticuffs, even though that's what we did back then. And not that it was okay, but it's just the way it was handled. Nowadays, you have to go tell the teacher, tell an adult, don't take it out amongst each other. I'm not talking about that necessarily, though I think that sometimes that does have to happen. Take the fisticuffs out. Let's duke this out. Let's duke it out. But what I'm talking about is exposing someone to those situations, those hard situations, because not every relationship is going to be ideal, where you're going to be happy all the time with your friends. You're going to get into arguments, but you get into an argument with someone on the phone, what, delete, block, there's no face to face. And the next thing you know, again, you're in the real world, right? You say you get a failing grade at college. You don't know how to deal with that. You get, you don't get picked for the rugby team. There's someone else better than you. You don't know how to deal with that because you always got in to the football team, the soccer team, because that's the way you were raised. No one misses out. You came out, you're in. And then there's no way of dealing with those kind of obstacles. So mental health, it's I'm not saying, I'm not denying that it's not there. I think even when I was growing up, if someone came to me and asked me, even back now in the late 70s when I was 13, 14, 15, and someone said, how would you grade your mental health? Good, fair, poor? On some days I probably would have said fair. And other days I might have said poor because I was going through something. But I had resilience. I overcame because I knew how to deal with those situations. So not these. This is not new. Kids going through things is not new. What seems to be new is how we're dealing with those things. And I think we have to get back to exposing kids to hardships, exposing kids to obstacles, exposing kids to situations that they have to overcome if they want to go on, and helping them with those tools to overcome. Not saying going through it alone, of course not, but you know, talking to each other, get off your phones, get out there, make sure that if you're in a sports team, you're winning, you're losing, you're scoring goals, you're getting better. Because if you're not scoring goals and you're not winning or losing, why improve? So anyway, that's kind of my take on some of these mental health issues. Um, you don't need to go to drugs, to deal with these issues that we're having. I think again, I'm not a psychiatrist. This is just my experience as a dad. Okay, that and going through the school systems and with my kids. This is need to get our kids back to facing some of these things that we went through. Absolutely, and helping them out that way. What do you guys think? Am I off base? Is this Am I just an old-fashioned fuddy-duddy and things are different now than they were when we were growing up? And so could be. I mean, there is more certainly social media now that wasn't there when I was growing up. But I think the more things change, the more things stay the same. There's nothing new under the sun. The same tools that worked in the Stone Age work today in the sense of teaching kids how to be resilient. Let me know what you think. If you like this and you'd like to share it, appreciate it. Please like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Okay, bye-bye.